so much.
Yeah, I've been knocking back 7 days a week for the last 2 days.
Yeah.
It's a great joke. You guys are going to think about that when you get home. So Dodie and I were arguing about this on the way over here, and she's like, you got to tell that. You got to tell it. I said, all right, it's not finished. But all right, I'll tell it. So did anybody else have anybody break in their house this last week? All right, so just us. All right. So we're laying in bed the other night. Yeah, exactly. I mean, who would break into the church? So we're laying in bed the other night. She's like, Andy, wake up. Somebody's in the house. And I said, well, go check it out. She said, you're the man. I said, whoa, you're way more manly than I am. That's true. I don't know who said it's true, but she'll stomp you afterwards. So we decide we're going to arm wrestle, and whoever loses has to go check it out. So I lose 2 out of 3. So my brilliant plan is I'm going to go in the den, and I'm going to yell as loud as I can to scare this person out of our house. So we creep out of our bedroom, and I get in there, and I start yelling. I say, hey, you! Come on! So naturally, Dodie starts laughing. I'm like, stop laughing! We're gonna scare him out! So she's like, Andy, you're really gonna let him have it? Get him! So I start to yell again, hey! Don't let the police get out of here! So the police show up, and they drag this guy out, and I said, why didn't you say anything when I yelled? He's like, well, I wouldn't really call that yelling. And he goes, I'm just back there trying to sleep behind the couch, and you startled me. I said, you're in my house. He goes, I know, I'm just trying to sleep. And then that's when things got weird. So the police officer looks at him, and he goes, whoa, what's that in your pocket? And the poor guy goes, hey, man, it's just some almonds. And so the cop goes, all right, just pull out your nuts real slow. I was like, let's not. It's been a late night. I don't need to see any of that. So I had to have a tough conversation with Emmy Claire this morning. That's our 5-year-old little girl. Yeah, she got a big check. All right, Emmy Claire. So I said, Emmy Claire, I got to tell you something, sweet baby angel. And I said, I can't afford to send you to your little private school anymore. And she said, why? I said, baby, it's just too expensive and I don't make enough money. And she said, why don't you get a better job?
My hero, Danny.
And I looked at Emmy Claire and I said, why don't you get a better dad? Then she says, Andy, you're not even my real dad. My real dad's a unicorn. You know, this is something I love about my children is that both of them call me by my first name. And it's funny because we'll go to school and they'll be like, yeah, this is my mom and this is Andy. Don't worry about him, he's not creepy at all. I know, it's ridiculous, right? It's like, oh, this is my mom's dead-weak boyfriend. He's just sleeping on the couch till the unicorn gets home. Big deal. So I'm going to tell y'all this before I leave, and that is, for many of y'all know I work at the Sheridan as well. We're at the Chop House. Do not cheer that. Do not cheer that. But we've all had this customer, and you think you've seen everything until you see this customer, right? This guy's just miserable the moment he walks in. You know, his table's miserable, his food's miserable, his life's miserable, his paycheck's miserable. So I go over to him and I said, hey man, what would you like to eat? He said, I think I'll take the filet. And I said, well, would you like that rare, medium rare? And he goes, burn it. He said, burn it beyond recognition. I was like, you're joking, right? I said, this thing's $60. I said, we can just burn $40 at the table right here and call it good. And he goes, no, I'm serious. He goes, burn that steak. All right, so I bring it out. It's like a flaming hockey puck when it comes out. It's still on fire. And I put it down in front of him. And I'm certain he's going to send it back and say that this is the worst meal he's ever had. And he begins to like chisel off a piece of it because it's so rock hard. and I'm afraid it's gonna melt his porcelain veneers. So he puts it in his mouth, and he's like, oh, steak is awful. It's probably the worst steak I've ever had. Tell your chef he did an amazing job. I mean, so this guy is so miserable, now he wants his food to be miserable. I could have brought him like some charcoal briquettes and some dipping sauce, and he would have been like, that was miserable. Probably the best meal I've ever had. All right, I'm Andy Konigsmark, and these are my stories.